This is Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley at WFMY in Greensboro, North Carolina. We're watching here that the tropics are getting busier and busier. And over the last couple of days, we've been tracking two different systems that were likely to form. Things are getting a little bit clearer now, and it really is becoming clear that this is the one that we're going to have to worry about. Humberto over here becoming a stronger storm, and you'd think the stronger one would be more concerning. Well, in this case, that's not the case at all. And Humberto is going to become a hurricane very, very soon. In fact, it might already be by the time you watch this video. It looks like it's already organizing itself very, very well. It could even be developing an eye-like feature. However, on the other hand, here's the Dominican Republic and Haiti. Those are the Turks and Caicos. That's the Bahamas. This sloppy mess of thunderstorms, that's what's worrying me, and I'll explain more in the next couple of minutes. First off, here's the track on Humberto, and you'll see why we're really not worried about it along the east coast of the United States. Yes, it is going to get strong. It'll probably become what we call a major hurricane. That's when it's category 3 or higher. But notice the forecast cone. You see how it's making a curve? It's going to do more than that. It'll continue to curve farther away from shore and really just avoid the east coast altogether. Always a good reminder when you're looking at these forecast cones, by the way, try not to focus on the center line. There's a little wiggle room. What it's meant to do is show you where that center might pass. It could be all the way on that side or on this side. And hurricanes are big. The impacts extend well beyond the center. So that's Humberto. We're not really all that concerned, but it is part of a player in the forecast of this. And this eventually will become Imelda. That will be the I name for the next tropical system. But as we said, there's no real organization. And what I mean by that, there's not a defined swirling center. A typical tropical storm or a tropical depression or a hurricane has to have a swirling center of circulation. And we just don't have that right now. We are seeing some curved features that tends to indicate that it's trying to get its act together. If there were to be any low pressure center, it's right about here, north of the Dominican and south of the Turks. So where do we go from here? The Hurricane Center has been tracking this for several days, and now they've upped the odds of development to 90%. Almost a certainty. Now, where might it develop? Anywhere in this red shaded area, which includes the Bahamas, and you can see it kind of angles itself close to the Carolinas. That's where we come in. So let me show you what the computer models are thinking, and then I'll explain why. The latest trends on this have not been good. All of these are clustered around, and whenever you're looking at these models, what this is, anytime there's a line there, that's a different weather computer predicting where they think the center of this storm will go. So most of them are agreeing now that there's a path that goes northward through the Bahamas. None of them have it impacting Florida at all. And then beyond that, going into early next week, by Monday and Tuesday, a big cluster of them bring it ashore in South Carolina or North Carolina. And like I said before, hurricanes and tropical storms, they're not small. They're not a thin line. They're big. So if it were here, boy, there'd be impacts in a lot of areas. You get the idea. So anyway, the odds of an increased impact in the Carolinas are going up, and the odds of it going out to sea are going down. The reason this has been a difficult forecast is because here's Imelda in a couple of days. We have a low pressure area inland over the Carolinas that's going to try and pull it inland. That looks like it's winning right now. Also, you have Humberto over there that's trying to pull it out. So it's basically a tug of war between different factors to try and figure out where the storm will go. But from what I just showed you and what I'm expecting at this point, here's what I think I know about the system, the main points. It's going to become a tropical storm or a hurricane by Sunday. So it's taking its time. It's not going to get its act together very quickly, but by the end of the weekend, a tropical storm or a hurricane is likely somewhere near the Bahamas. From there, it will go northward and a coastal hit, meaning a landfall, somewhere along the South Carolina coast or the North Carolina coast. It's not a certainty, but it's getting more likely. And unfortunately, when that happens, there's always going to be some bad impacts to somebody. The time frame to really watch initially would be Monday night into Tuesday, but probably extending beyond that too. One of the things we see with hurricanes that curve inland, a lot of times they slow down and they can sit for a couple of days. We've seen that in past storms, and we don't want to see it again, but it is possible inland flooding could be a problem for a couple of days. I have the computer models outlaid on here. The areas I'm most concerned about right now, that would be in southeast North Carolina, all the way through Myrtle Beach to Charleston as well. We'll narrow this down as we get a little bit closer. But even us here in the Piedmont areas, we should have some concern. The main reason we should worry is for that flood potential. Like I said, over the next week, there is the opportunity to pick up over a half a foot of rain. That's the forecast from the Hurricane Center. And just by dealing with these in the past and talking from experience, I'm telling you, a lot of times these things produce more rain than expected in a localized area. So we don't know who exactly will get it the worst, but it's possible somebody could get upwards of 10, 12, 15 inches or so if it works out in the wrong way. So we hope that doesn't happen, but it sure could. Just to point out as well, we've been in a drought, but over the course of the weekend, there's going to be some more rain. So we will get a little bit wet before Imelda comes inland heading into next week, if that indeed happens. That's how it stands right now. We'll be getting more impacts and more forecast and more detail over the coming days. Keep an eye out for more updates.